Hey, what's up guys? Weekly Light here, and today I'm going to be covering the Cyclops in Pit People. So this is going to be a longer video than usual because of how complex it is. The Cyclops has access to 4 different helmet options, 5 offhand options, 5 weapons, and the choice to be hero or not hero, which comes out to be 200 different combinations without counting the unique gear. If you count all the unique gear and cosmetics, which is 204 unique helmets, 183 unique offhand weapons / shields, 207 unique weapons it can use, and the option to be hero or not, it comes out to be 15,455,448 different cosmetic choices for the Cyclops. So as you can imagine, I'm not going to be reading you all those stats because that is a lot of work, a long video. I figured the way to do this would be to define a base case of the Cyclops and then say what it modifies, because I found that the modifications are sort of additive. So for example, if your weapon gives you +5, but your helmet gives you -3, it would come out to be a net +2, about. So to define the base case, I just used the lowest thing in each tree, which will be no helmet, a light sword, and the net at level 1. With this, it has 51% chance to launch, 51% chance to slow, a 75% chance to snare, 25% weight, 10 attack, 1 bar of dodge, 3 steps, and 8 hearts. When it becomes the hero, the only thing that changes is it gets like half a bar more of defense and half a heart more. And at the higher damage levels, it'll get 1 more damage or 2 more damage, but at lower damage levels, it's a negligible amount. The launch and slow chances are tied to your weapon. If you're not using a light sword, so if you're using the medium or heavy sword or the mallet or the heavy mallet, your launch chance and your slow chance are 30% instead of 51. If you're not running the net, you have no snare chance. Dodge is based off of your weight. So the lower the weight, the higher the dodge. You only have the dodge if your weight bar is very low. If your weight is 50% or greater, then your steps will go down to 2. The helmets, the medium and heavy helmets, will make you weak to mallets but give you sword resistance, as will the mallets will give you bonus damage against helmets, while the swords won't. Even though the stat card doesn't say it, when you have a throwing weapon on your offhand, you will have a ranged attack even though no range bars appear. So when you level up, your damage and your health change. So all these things are approximate because I am using a level 1 for my base case, but you might have a level 30, so you'd have more damage than me. So let's start with the helmets, I guess. So the light helmet gives you 1 less attack and half a bar more of defense. The medium helmet gives you plus 25% weight, minus 2 attack, and plus 1.5 bars of defense. The heavy helmet gives you plus 35% weight, minus 3 attack, and plus 2.5 defense. As stated before, your helmet changes whether or not you're weak to mallets or you resist swords. So next up, let's go over the weapons. So if you equip a medium sword, that's plus 25% weight from your base case, plus 4 attack. If you have a heavy sword, it's plus 65% weight, plus 6 attack, and minus 1 defense. You might not notice this because if you're not running a shield, you won't have any defense. It can't go below 0, so don't worry about that. If you're running a mallet, your weight goes up by 65%. You get mallet bonus damage. With the heavy mallet, it's plus 75% weight, and you get plus 6 damage along with the mallet bonus damage, which is a lot of damage. With the light shield, you get minus 25% weight, so this is actually lighter to go with the light shield than the net, and you get plus half a bar of block. With the medium shield, your weight stays the same, your attack stays the same, but you get plus 3 bars of block, which takes your block chance up to 42% according to the stat card. With the heavy shield, you get plus 10% weight, minus 1 attack, and plus half a bar of defense. So this is the only time you'll actually get like defense from a shield. and plus 4.5 bars of block, which takes you up to about 82% chance to block projectiles. If you put on the throwing weapon, it gives you minus 25% weight because it's lighter than the net, and it gives you the throw badge to signify now that you have a ranged attack. When building your Cyclops, I would recommend that you do not make it the hero, because making it the hero gives it negligible changes, which is a real waste of the hero slot when you could give it to something like the mushroom, which becomes like significantly better. I would recommend that you do not run it with a net or a throwing object for your offhand. The net is only good if you're in need of a recruiter while you're out hunting for stuff and you don't feel like your Spydar or your recruiter human could survive the battle and you need something tankier to recruit stuff. But besides that, I would never recommend a net for actual PvP. The throwing object is also not a good idea because it does like 5 to 8-ish damage. It's not too impressive, and your melee weapons are much better because it's a frontline tank and you don't want to be in the back like wasting your tank. Okay, so I prepared some recommended builds because I didn't go very in-depth in each and every single combo because of how many combos there are. I just decided that, it'd be best if I just recommended some actual builds for these guys. So the first build I came up with is a purely defensive tank. So you rock a heavy helmet, a medium sword, and a heavy shield. This offers you decent damage and extremely outstanding defenses and blocking capabilities. So this is what you're going to want to run if you want to have it in the front lines and not have it as your main DPS. On the contrary, I also came up with a maximum offense build. So yeah, I'm min-maxing. So you have no helmet, you put on the alpaca lips, the heavy mallet, and the small shield. This offers you by far the best damage you can get for these guys, which is probably the highest damage in the game aside from a perfect rainbow horse shot or the mascot's explosion at the end. The final build I was able to come up with to recommend for you guys would be an elemental defense build. So you rock one of those Castle Crasher helms you get for owning Castle Crashers, because I'm pretty sure most of you guys own Castle Crashers. So you get these sweet elemental helms. You can resist poison, ice, fire, and electricity with these. So rock one of those, plus a light shield, and then the apocalypse for some good damage. You can choose what element you want. So like if you're running it with the Electrobots, you'd rock the electric resist helm, I think the red one. But if you're running it with like Pixies, we want the orange one for the fire resist. So I think that's the best for avoiding friendly fire. I keep mentioning the Alpacalypse, which is just this heavy mallet that it does explosive damage instead of your single damage. So it does less damage to an individual target, but it will do more damage to a group, which encourages your enemies not to group up. It drops from any suitable loot source, I think, so you can just keep killing stuff in the pit or whatever and hope you get lucky, or you could go out and hunt Cyclopses and recruit one that holds it. Only Cyclopses can use the Apocalypse because it's a heavy mallet. The Apocalypse have explosive and fire damage, which is also good against the hair trolls, which I'll get to later. So the Cyclops, I think it fills the role of a frontline tank slash damage dealer, which puts it in a bad spot, because what does that sound like? That's right, the hair troll. The hair troll fills the exact same role. It's also a frontline tank. The funny thing is the hair troll flings it backwards and the Cyclops flings them forward. I guess the behemoth was just like, hey, we need another character. Oh, let's take the Cyclops, invert its colors, and then reverse the direction it launches targets. Oh, okay, we have a hair troll now. And I think that was probably the process behind it, because they fill the exact same niche, I think. The main difference is that the Cyclops has less health than the hair troll, and it also has no self-healing, because, the hair troll has that pesky self-heal, while the Cyclops has absolutely no self-healing aside from its level up heal, and if you pair a cupcake or something with it. But what makes the Cyclops special is that it can be built to fit any role, while the hair troll can't be. So it's like putty. You can shape it into whatever you need. Um, if you want a blocker, it can be a great blocker. If you need great damage, it can deal great damage. If you want it to be ranged, don't make it ranged. If you want something to resist an element, you can have it resist an element. If you want it to fit your team, it will fit your team because it can be built in so many different ways. I think that's the whole point of the Cyclops. It's basically you can make it synergize around your team instead of having your team synergize around it. So if you have two free spaces, I guess you could put a Cyclops there and then you can have it fit the team. As opposed to you having to build your team around the hair troll because the hair troll doesn't change at all. Another thing is, you can build teams around hair trolls, but you can't build teams around Cyclopses. Because what the Cyclops is weak to depends on what armor it has. And how much damage the Cyclops deals also depends on what it's wearing. So you can never prepare for all the different Cyclopses, but you can always be ready for the hair troll. One like fire thing on your team and that counters the hair troll. Well, you could be thinking, what can I use to counter Cyclopses? And the answer is nothing, because you don't know what they're going to bring in a Cyclops. So I think the Cyclops' greatest strength is the fact that it can be shaped into anything. But once it is shaped into anything, I don't find it to be too outstanding. It needs self-sustain, and it just doesn't have it. It takes up 2 slots, and I have to say, I think I'd rather have either 2 humans or 2 like monsters, or a monster and a human, instead of this guy. Because granted, you can build him many ways, but you can build 2 humans in even more ways. Like, you can have one being a blocker and one being a ranged, while Cyclops is sort of just there. The Gorgon, which also takes up 2 slots, has the minions it spawns, which I think of as essentially free health, 10 free health, and map presence. And this map presence is what the Cyclops lacks. You see, it only takes up 1 tile, right? Which means it can be surrounded very, very easily. And once this guy's surrounded, he's not gonna have a good time, because he can only move 2 steps. 3 if he's lightweight. But if he's lightweight, you're not maximizing it. So you really have to choose between either movement speed or having better stats. So I think it's a lose-lose with the Cyclops. I think in order to fix the Cyclops, they need to up its movement by 1. Like, it has to have at least 3 at all times, because 2 is extremely brutal. It's getting to the fight way later than everything else, and it's hard to like position it well, which makes your map presence a lot worse. I might just be a little biased against these guys though, because I feel like they're just like super duper bland, and they're really common on the maps, like, and something that's common is usually of lower quality. Like in Pokemon, like a bajillion Rattatas, but there's only like 1 Rayquaza, right? So, I don't know. If you like the Cyclops and you'd love to use it, and you have a build that you think everyone should use because it's way better than the builds I came up with in like 3 minutes, feel free to leave it in the comments. And if you're looking for a build, check the comments, because there's some people out there who probably know how to build a Cyclops really well. So, thank you for watching the video, and don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. The human is up next week, is the last character. It might take a while to get the video out, but it will be coming. Thanks again.